Yo, what's good, everyone? Welcome back to the show, WTTS. It's our show or no show, where we chop it up with the rogue ones from the game and get into the stuff that doesn't really pop up into TV. I'm your host, Noah, and today's guest has one hell of a story. He's a former big leaguer who got drafted in the first round in 1999, pitched for a couple of good teams: Giants, Cubs, Nationals, Cardinals, Phillies, Rangers, Astros, and made some serious noise with the Angels. You already know him. I'm talking about Jerome Williams. You probably remember him rocking that pink glove on the mound, but trust me, there's way more to this journey than just what you saw on TV. We're talking about growing up in Hawaii, grinding through the minors, bouncing between teams, dealing with personal loss, and what's life been after baseball. This one's got heart, resilience, and some real gems for anyone who's ever faced adversity. Let's get into it. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, man. Appreciate you.
Heard that you grew up in Hawaii.
Yeah, born and raised.
What island?
Oahu.
Oahu?
Yeah, on the west coast of Oahu, the hood.
The hood. And then what high school did you go to?
I went to Waipahu High School.
Waipahu High School? Is that like in the middle? I know what was it start?
Mililani?
Mililani,
Yeah, so I'm like probably, 15 minutes south of Mililani, right by Pearl City.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So we're right in that area, right in the heart of the hood.
So how was it growing up in Hawaii? Like, how was it baseball? Was it baseball heavy or?
Baseball was heavy, football was heavy, and soccer was heavy.
Soccer.
Baseball there, it was just a grind every single day. If you didn't play baseball, you played football. If you didn't play football or baseball, you played soccer. So, I didn't want to play football. Couldn't throw a football to save my life. And then I just decided to play baseball.
Did you play at Aloha Stadium? Or which one was your home field?
Our home field was at our school.
Okay.
And, it was right in the boonies. We had cane fields surrounding. Right behind the cane fields were it was part of Pearl Harbor.
Okay.
So we had like old ships out there, and it was rough. It was rough.
Was it a nice view of it?
It wasn't not really.
You started to drive through to see.
Yeah, you just drive. You literally have to go through the back roads to get to our field. So it was a journey to get there.
Yeah, because my dad he coached over there in the summers. I don't think they have it anymore, but yeah, we played at. I remember we used to go every summer, and it was played at all the high schools around there, and then I think there was a couple of years that we played at Aloha Stadium. Aloha Stadium was nice.
Aloha Stadium was really nice. We had a Best of the West tournament. They used to do summer tournaments over there, so it was really nice over there.
Did you surf a lot or?
No, not really.
Jump off a Hawaiian?
No. I was too busy playing baseball.
Mm-hmm.
I could my parents were very strict. I have two older brothers, and both of my older brothers they chose their path, and they didn't want me to choose that path. So
how was it drafting experience? You got drafted out of high school, right?
Yes. I drafted out of high school, first round, 99, sandwich pick, 39th overall.
Yeah, being selected first round, 1999 by the Giants, correct?
Yep.
And how was the process of that? How was it your senior year, or scouts texting you, calling you?
So we had a tournament out in Maui, and a guy named Dan Dixon, he was the head of the scouting bureau, and I pitched there, and I topped out at 95, and he gave me a little pamphlet.
That was a senior year, 95?
Yeah, senior year, and from that day on, every scout was coming, and I was in awe because coming from Hawaii, and I really don't know too much about the mainland. They had radar guns, and I thought they were real guns. So I was like, why are you shooting this at me? And it's like my dad was telling me, hey, it's a radar gun to check your speed on your pitches. Like, oh, cool. Yeah. And then I started throwing, and I started lighting up the gun. So it was fun going through it because I was a public school kid, and in Hawaii, public school baseball, nobody really recognized it. They only recognized the private schools.
I know in one of the games you pitched a perfect game or a no-hitter and with a couple of home runs.
Yeah.
Tell me to do that game.
So it was against Moanalua. It was my senior year. I had a no-hitter. I hit three home runs. I was
in one game.
In one game. In one game. I was one ball away from a perfect game, and they didn't want to give it to me.
How was that play? What happened on that?
It was a 3-2 count. I threw a fastball down and away on the plate, and he balled it. And I'm like, "Are you serious?" But we end up 10-run ruling them, and I hit 3 that day too.
And how was it once you got drafted in the minor leagues? How was the grind, and how many years were you in the minor leagues for?
So I got drafted in '99. Opened up in Salem Kaiser, rookie ball, and then I went to San Jose, Shreveport, Fresno. So it took me 4 years to get to the big leagues. It was a grind for me because 17 years old, never left the island before, being on my own. And
you graduated at 17?
I graduated at 17, and it was tough. I didn't know how to drive. I didn't know what a checking account, saving account was. I tell the story where I got my bonus check for $350,000, and I go to the bank and I wanted to cash it. And the lady told me, like, "Hey, you need to open up an account." It's like, "Well, you guys got a vault in the back. I know you got money in that." But I didn't know, right? So, just grinding all the way through, going to different places, being 17 all the way until 20, going up through every system. I couldn't go out legally, couldn't drink.
What city were you at again?
So I was in Salem Kaiser, up in Oregon. Mm-hmm. Then the next year I was in San Jose. Then the next year I was in AA in Shreveport, and then AAA I was in Fresno. So those, just going around, the nation, coming from Hawaii, it's like this is all in shock to me. But I had to grow up quick.
Yeah, like the culture differences, like moving from Hawaii to the mainland. That was a big adjustment for you?
Big adjustment, going from 80, 83 degrees in Hawaii every day to actually seeing seasons. Going through spring, going through summer, going through fall. Hawaii has 2 seasons. It's sunny and raining. That's it. So it was tough. It was tough to make that adjustment.
Your MLB debut with the Giants, and what day was that? What year?
That was May 1st.
May 1st?
I think it was May 1st, 2003 against the Phillies.
How was that? How are the nerves, everything?
It was...
May 1st, how old were you going in?
21.
21.
I was 21, playing at the Vet, the old Philly Stadium. And I was just in shock. I'm actually here pitching against some guys that I looked up to, like Jimmy Rollins and Pat Burrell and Bobby Abreu. And, I played with Chase Utley the year before in the fall league, so it was surreal. Also, too, having one of my idols catching me, Benito Santiago, and that was awesome. But it didn't turn out the way I wanted it to turn out. Benito got hurt. I think it was in the 3rd inning, and Yorvik Torrealba came in, and I kind of gave up 3 more runs. After the game, they sent me down. I had my first strikeout too. My first strikeout was Pat Burrell.
That was the first game, or
first game?
First game.
Yeah, Pat Burrell. I struck him out on a curveball, which the pitch before he hit like 600 feet foul.
So once you strike them out, they throw the ball in the dugout.
Yep,
for you to
threw the
keep?
ball in the dugout. So I actually still have that ball inside at my house right now.
There you go.
Yeah.
When you got traded back down, and then when did you go to a different ball club?
I got called back up.
Traded.
I got called back up to called back up that year.
With the Giants.
With the Giants, called back up that year, and I finished out the year 3rd in Rookie of the Year voting, behind Dontrell Willis and Brandon Webb, and it was a surreal moment. My claim to fame that year, my rookie year, I beat 3 teams back to back. So I beat Oakland. My first win was against Oakland. Came back 4 days later, beat Oakland again. Faced St. Louis. Came back 4 days later, beat St. Louis again. And then I faced the Diamondbacks. Faced them. I faced Randy Johnson. And then my next start was against the Diamondbacks and beat Kurt Schilling. So I won 6 in a row, beating 3 teams back to back. which was pretty cool.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, I think I saw online like one of the years you played for 3 teams, or
Yep.
Because I was looking at the stats and I was like, I don't know if this is right, but it was.
Yeah, I played for 3 teams. I played for, so it was in 2014. I played for Houston, Texas, and Philly.
So how did that work? Like bouncing 3 teams? I can imagine just one for a season. Like that's a lot already. But
yeah. So when I was in Houston,
how was that whole process?
When I was in Houston, I got designated. So designation means that it's either you take the minor league assignment and get minor league money, or you ask for your release. So I asked for my release, came back home, and I think it was like 2 weeks later, the Rangers called. They wanted me to go to AAA. Went to AAA. I had an out in my contract. An out means at a certain date, if I'm not called up on that date, I can opt out of my contract and become a free agent again. So the day of my out, they called me up. So I got called back up with Texas, pitched 2 games, and then I got designated again.
That was right away in the bigs, right?
Yep. Then I got designated again, and then Philly picked me up. So I ended up going to Philly, and then finished the year off in Philly.
And what stood out to you for each organization, like playing for each one?
Just the classiness of certain organizations. You understand what that organization is good for, right?
And wanted, and what their goals were.
Yes. So if you look at the Giants, they were really heavy on pitching. We did have some young guys coming up, like myself, Kevin Correa, Noah Lowry, Brad Hennessy. We had all that little core group that we had with all the veterans. Then I go to Chicago. Now I go to Chicago with the Cubs. That was a very veteran team that was coached by a great manager with Dusty Baker. So Dusty was there. The atmosphere and how he ran the team was first class. Then my next team with the Nationals, it was rebuild. It's a rebuild season. Ryan Zimmerman was his second year in the big leagues, so it was like a rebuild. And then obviously, with the Angels, they're known for being the scrappy team. Each guy had a job to do, and they had to do that job. You go over to Houston. Houston was more of analytics. That was when it was starting to happen. Then you go to Texas, obviously with Ron Washington.
The analytics, the Moneyball part.
Yep. Then you go to Texas with Ron Washington with all those guys. It's like you guys are like the team, and just being around those guys, being a veteran around them, you learn a lot from them. You go to Philly. Kind of the old regime is getting out, and Jimmy Rollins is left, Chase Utley left, you still had Ryan Howard, you had Carlos Ruiz, and then we're bringing up some young guys, I still talk about this. There was this guy that took my spot in 2015 with the Phillies, and I had to move to the bullpen. His name was Aaron Nola. You might know that guy, right?
Yeah, Aaron Nola. Yeah.
Aaron Nola is a pretty good pitcher now, so. But, being with them, and then my last year in the big leagues with St. Louis, learning so much from Yadier Molina, Adam Wainwright, Michael Wacha. So it's like all those guys, I learned so much, but you understand, like, you see the teams that are young, and then you see the veteran teams, and you see the difference with it. And once you see the difference, now you understand how the organization works.
Yeah, people don't really know that baseball is a game of knowledge, and all the teams that you've been to and everything, jumping around from team to team, that you pick everyone's knowledge and you get better aspect of the game.
100%.
And then you went to the Angels, what year?
2011.
2011?
Yep, 2011. That was...
What were some key memories, the teammates, how you felt to represent that franchise with the famous pink glove?
When I got there, I felt like I was a rookie again. Even though I had some years in, but just being around veteran guys, Weaver, Herron, Santana, at that time, Kendrys Morales got hurt when he broke his ankle at home plate. you've seen young guys coming up. I mean, Mike Trout, Pete Borges, Mark Trumbo, Howie, Ibar. You learn from these guys, and you come to realize, like, man, I can actually play with these guys. Because I was doubting myself. This was my second chance to get back to the big leagues, and I was doubting myself because I didn't think I should have been there.
Which team did you come from before? Were you in the minors or?
So that year when it started, I was in indie ball. I was in the Atlantic League, and I played in Lancaster, in Pennsylvania, and I just wanted to get back to Asia because the year before that I played in Taiwan.
Yeah, that's right. You played overseas.
Yeah, I played overseas, so I wanted to play in Asia.
Taking a step back, how was that?
Crazy. It was nuts.
How old were you when you went overseas?
Shoot, I probably was like 30, 31. And it was weird because you had 4 foreigners on a team and only 3 could play, and the other one could go to the minor leagues. I was one of 2 black guys on the team. So every time I used to walk around in Taiwan, everybody thought that we were basketball players. But we played baseball. Mm-hmm. And it was nuts. I mean, you understand the Asian culture of how they play the game now.
Yeah, they respect it so much on a different level. Because we just got back from Japan like 2 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
He went to the Dodger game.
Okay.
When we were out there. But
okay. But yeah, that night, respect, thinking that I can blow people away with my fastball when you can't, because their bat to ball skills are so precise. Like, I try to throw a front hip sinker to a lefty, and he's flipping it to the right field, or he's hitting it out. I'm like, wait, I gotta change my ways. Another thing over there that was pretty scary was gambling. Yeah, a lot of gambling over there. The year before, one of their top teams, I think it was 5 or 6 guys that got caught gambling. So
it was legal over there, or
no,
it wasn't legal?
Not legal at all. You go to a KTV, which is a karaoke bar. If you see black Mercedes outside, well, the mafia is in there. Yeah, the mafia is in there. So it's like, oh boy, and I got approached. Hey, we'll give you $100,000 to throw a game. $100,000 is really cool, but once you accept, you're stuck. You're stuck with them. So I denied it and just kept on playing, kept on doing my thing. And I always tell people this: if it wasn't for Taiwan, I probably don't be with the Angels. They taught me the game. They taught me how to be healthy. They taught me all the ways of getting healthy, and taught me how to pitch again. And from that day on, I always
coaching over there, or just playing.
Just in all aspects, coaching, understanding the game.
How was the coaching over there? Like, were they just like do your own thing, or they actually try to help you? And
so in the beginning, they would let you go, and then after they would see, like, okay, you need to work on this. You need to work on your health, your conditioning, your arm care. And I'm looking at this and like, why are you guys caring so much about this? I'm a big leaguer. Like, what are you talking about? Like, well, you don't know this, and that. I'm like, I didn't know that. Maybe I should start trying it. And I start trying it, and it helped me go from what I was there into what I became, my 4 or 5 more years in the big leagues because of what was happening down in Taiwan.
So we had Angel Scouts out there, or how did you get scouted by the Angels?
So when I went to Indie Ball that next year, my agent at that time knew some people with the Angels, and I was tearing it up in Indie Ball. I think I went 6-0 there. My last game, I went complete game shutty, and I got a call from my agent saying the Angels want to sign me. So I'm like, all right, cool, I want to go.
Yeah.
So I go to Salt Lake. I was in AAA. Go to Salt Lake, and I'm just playing the year out, waiting for next year. Never thought that I was going to get called up, and I went 7-2, and I get a call from my manager, and my manager says, "Hey, you're getting called up." I'm like, "Yeah, stop lying. Like, don't play a joke on me right now." It's like, "No, you're getting called up." I'm like, "No, stop." Then he was being serious.
Before going back over there, you got your pink glove over there, right?
Yep, got my pink glove over there.
You brought it. You brought it with you today.
Yep, got it right here. This is my actual glove that I used in the big leagues. So it's a Taiwanese brand called Woods. Has my name, has my logo, and on the inside of my glove, I have my mom's name. My mom's name is Deborah, so I have it on the inside part of my glove. My son. I have like 4 or 5 of them. So my son, he actually plays baseball in high school right now.
Yeah, that's right. He's a freshman.
He's a freshman.
Yeah, we coached feeder teams together. We faced a couple of times.
Yeah, and he uses it on the mound every time he pitches. So it's a good tribute to me and his grandmother.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, when I saw him pitch, I was like, oh, damn. He looked exactly the form and everything.
Yeah.
Exact clone.
Yeah, I'm looking at him like, oh, boy. I don't want you to go through the pain I went through, but, hey, if you want to do it, go ahead. I'll help you.
So, yeah, so, like, iconic pink glove, you wanted to tell me, like, the little bit origin story and, like, what it means to you? Tell everyone.
Yeah. So, what was it, 2001? Yeah, 2001, my mother passed away of breast cancer. I was 19 years old. I was in AA, and it was hard because my mom was my best friend. I was a baby of the family. My mom taught me everything, and when she passed, I put a puka shell necklace at her grave. That's what my mom used to wear. She used to dance hula when she was growing up, when she was a kid. And I got to the big leagues, and the year I got to the big leagues, I asked my dad to dig it up, and I wore it in the big leagues with the Giants. I wore it for like 3 years because, after the 3rd year, when you get to big league life, you kind of get fat. Because you get all these food and everything, so my neck became a little bit chunky. Mm-hmm. So it became from a necklace to a choke chain. So it broke on me one time, so I put it inside my hat. So when I was over in Taiwan was 2011.
Like the whole, like a little piece of it, or like
no, just the little shells. I'll put it inside my hat, so I always have her with me. Then in 10, I was in Taiwan, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to make a tribute to my mom for a 10-year anniversary. I'm going to wear a pink glove next year in 2011. So in 2011, I started wearing a pink glove in indie ball, and then I used it in AAA. I get called up, and I don't use it for my first 2 games. And they were wondering, why you're not using it. I'm like,
I don't want the Angels.
With the Angels.
Yeah.
I don't want to make a big deal out of it. I just got called up, just made it back to the big leagues. That should be a story as itself. Mm-hmm. So one day, Nomar Garcia-Parra is in the clubhouse, and it's going to be an ESPN game the next day against the Mariners. Now, I played with Nomar in Chicago with the Cubs, and he heard about my glove, and he looked at it. He's like, man, you should wear it. I'm like, dude, I don't want the attention. I don't. Like, no, just wear it. No problem. I'm like, all right. So I took my glove and I took it down to the umpire's room. And Laz Diaz was down there, and I asked him about my glove. I told him, hey, if it's okay to use it. Yeah, it's a solid color. No problem. But he asked me why. So my mom passed away of breast cancer, 10-year anniversary. Okay.
Yeah, what about the Angels? Did they fine you for it because it was a different color? Or
no, they didn't fine me for it. Nobody did anything to it. It's a solid color. As long as it's not white or gray.
Yeah, for pitching.
It's a solid color. Had no problems with it. So I used it that day against the Mariners. And I went 8 innings, 1 hit, 1 run. So Nomar came up to me and said, are you going to be using it? I'm like, yeah, I'm going to be using it. I'm going to be using it till I'm not playing no more.
The rest is history right
there.
Yep,
the rest is history.
What about, so like, because, it was a different color. Did you, like, for the rules, like, do you get, like, fined if you, like, wear something different color, or?
No.
Not just a glove, but like cleats, because I know everybody wears different cleats, not different colors and everything.
So back in the day, it was
it like that?
What was it? It was a 70-30 rule. So the 70-30 rule for the cleats was you have to have 70% of the main color of the team. So at that time, it was black. So for the Angels, you had to have 70% black and then 30% any other color. If you didn't, you would have got fined. I got fined because there was one time I wore a shoe where it was a New Balance shoe, it was a 40-40, and it didn't have red in it. And it had too much gray. So it was like 50%, 60% gray.
But it matched the pants.
But it matched the pants and everything. And I'm like, okay. So, oh yeah, we're going to fine you for that.
How much was the fine?
Fine was like $5,000.
$5,000?
Yeah, $5,000. And I'm like, really? For shoes, guys?
For shoes that actually matched the jersey and everything.
Yeah, exactly. And now you have everybody customizing shoes.
Yeah.
You know,
they dropped that rule now?
They dropped that rule. So anybody can wear anything.
Yeah, because I just seen the other day, I think it was Jazz with the anime cleats and everything. And
you're looking at highlighter shoes. I'm like,
highlighter shoes.
Where are we going? Yeah. So, you know, we were trying to do those things back in the day, but they didn't want to do it. Now, anybody can.
And then going to like the mental side of the game, how was it? Like, were there any tough games that you had to go through mentally? How did it shape you?
Yeah, I can always remember a game where I faced Cleveland. I was cruising.
You started or you
started? I was cruising. I think I was going into the 6th or 7th inning with like 9 strikeouts, and I didn't give up a run. And then, in a matter of 15 pitches, I'm losing 4 or 5 to 2. What just happened? But the biggest thing that helped me was, God rest his soul, is Ken Revisa. Ken Revisa was a mental skills coach that was, everybody knows who Ken Revisa was. You know, he had classes out in Long Beach, and, you know, Ken was really close with, you know, Weaver, because we've went to Long Beach. So he used to always talk to me. And that mental side of the game helped me so much moving forward in my career that nothing bothered me. You know, if I was, you couldn't tell like I was rattled if we were winning 10-0 or losing 10-0. I had the same face. Like, it didn't bother me because all I needed to do was focus and what my task at hand at that moment was. He always talked about live in the moment, live in the now. And once I lived in the now, everything became easy.
Don't worry about the results. Just focus on right now, throwing strikes, basically.
Exactly. One pitch at a time.
One pitch at a time.
So Ken Revisa was a big part of my career.
So how was it in the dugout, like for like the mental side of it? Everyone's like giving tips and everything, because I know when I played, everyone was just on their own thing, like mentally. They have like their own pregame stuff, the rituals when they go in the bullpen or anything like that.
So I had my own routine, but the one thing with me, like, guys thought I was playing around so much, but I always wanted to be loose in the dugout when I pitched. I didn't want to be a guy like sitting down and not talking to nobody and over focusing. I was a guy that was like, I wanted to joke around after I came off the field. Like, I had a no-hitter going on at one time in the 7th, and you know how everybody moves away from you because they don't want to mess up the juju, sit in the same spot.
It's like an unwritten rule and everything.
Right.
Not to mess with the pitcher when the pitcher's just looking dead at the field.
Exactly. And I look at them and I go, what are you guys all the way over there for? Like, come talk to me. It's like, no. Like, I know I got a no-hitter going on. I don't care about that. Like, oh, you just jinxed it. I don't care. I don't care about personal accolades. I worry about the team winning. And then the next inning, I give up a homer, right? Then they look at me like, see? I'm like, are we winning? Like, yeah. I'm not worried about a no-hitter. Yes. Yeah, I can have that on my resume.
Whatever happens. Yeah. If you didn't say anything, you think that homer still would have happened?
Probably. Yeah. Like, I want to be loose. Like, once I cross the line, now I'm game on, right? But once I cross the line to come in a dugout, I want to joke around. I want to have fun. I want to be relaxed. I don't want to be so riled up into the game so much that I overthink it, and then now I do worse. So that was with Ken. That's what Ken used to always tell me. It's like, when you cross the line, turn it off. When you cross the line to go on the field, turn it back on. I'm like, okay. And, it kept me loose. And I used to always joke around every single time. Guys would always look at me like, why are you doing that for? I want to have fun. Guys, you got to understand, it's just a game. It's not life or death. It's a game.
So which jersey and stadium was like the best to play in? Which one did you feel like most proud of? Like, oh man, this is what I always wanted to do.
Oh, jersey, obviously with the Giants. It's my first one. Right?
Yeah.
My first jersey. Close second, Angels, my second chance. I got two fields that are good for me. And I love pitching in. San Diego and Petco, and then in Arizona. Petco, I think I have a 1 or 2 ERA there. And they never wanted to sign me. I'm like, why? Like, I pitch very well in San Diego. Arizona, it's very special because, I had great games against Hall of Famers. Randy Johnson, Kurt Schilling, Brandon Webb, at that time, you had Luis Gonzalez on the team. It was like, I had great battles with them. And it was fun, I struck out from Randy Johnson because he throws 100. I was scared.
And did you hit? Or
Yeah.
You hit a couple times?
Yeah, I got hit. In my career, I got 4 doubles. 4 doubles. It was scary doubles, too, because I had to face guys that were throwing pretty hard.
Yeah.
My last hit was against Jacob deGrom before he started throwing 100, which was awesome.
Yeah, when you're in the batter's box, it's not just one hiss, it's like 2 hisses, right?
Yes. Like, the time I faced Randy Johnson, my first at-bat, I see a 91-mile-an-hour sinker, and I foul it straight back. And I'm like...
And that's just a sinker.
I'm like, all right, cool. Randy Johnson, you don't throw that hard. Next pitch, Mr. Snappy comes. Now, it starts in zone. By the time I swing, it almost hits my back foot on a slider. And I'm like, that was pretty good. All right, no matter what, I'm going to be swinging at this next pitch. Next pitch comes. By the time the catcher catches the ball, my foot's still in the air. I look up, it's like, ooh, 100. That's what 100 looks like. Wow. I'm not going to be digging in. I'm not going to be digging in again because I'm going to be digging my grave if I dig in like that.
Just start swinging when he's loading up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. But I figured, I kind of understood what kids felt when they were in high school when I was throwing. I was throwing like 95, 96. Now I understand why it was hard to hit because that thing is coming pretty fast.
Yeah, I remember hitting against, it was in summer ball, I think it was in 2019, 2020. And I was facing... Who was it? It was a closer for Santa Barbara.
Mm-hmm.
He was throwing like 97, and so that was the first time. And this is with wood bats.
Yes.
I hate hitting with wood bats. Like I don't care about wood bats. I would just get the big 5 bats because I know I was gonna break them.
Exactly.
And I ended up getting a base hit. I broke the bat, and it was just a slow ground ball up the middle. But that's when I told you I was like, was it 1 hiss or 2 hisses? Because that first pitch goes by and it's 2 hisses. I'm like, I've never heard that before.
Never hear it.
I took a step back and I just read that life right then and there. And I got back and I'm like, all right,
here we go.
Here we go.
Yep, here we go.
That's when I broke my bat and then a little dribbler up the middle for a single.
Yep.
I'm like, oh, there's that.
I felt those hisses with Roger Clemens. So that was scary.
And we're gonna do some rapid fire questions.
For sure.
All right, so we're going to go over the rapid fire Hall of Famer questions. And here's some of the directions. So speed is key. Answer each question quickly as possible. 2, no skipping. Answer every question in the order it's asked. 3, be honest. Just give the first answer that comes to mind. And the guest with the shortest time to answer all the questions wins the Rap Hall of Fame on the next podcast. So here we go. So what was your favorite part of the season and why, besides playoffs?
Atmosphere.
Favorite stadium you played in?
Petco.
Do you have a lucky charm or item?
Pink glove.
Best prank you pulled on a teammate?
Eye black and hat.
What's your go-to song before a game?
A Hawaiian song called Sweet Lei Mokihana.
What's your favorite TV show?
Hawaii Rescue.
Hawaii Rescue. Most embarrassing moment on the field?
Oh, Man, I pooped myself.
Which one was that?
I pooped myself.
Oh no, we have to blow that one right there. What's the most memorable home run you've ever hit, if you ever hit one?
The 3 home runs in high school.
3 home runs in high school. Best city for an away game.
New York.
Favorite baseball uniform design, worn and unworn.
Giants.
Giants?
Yeah.
What about unworn?
Unworn.
You wanted to.
Yankees.
What was your nickname in the clubhouse?
Puka.
Favorite ice cream flavor?
Vanilla.
Favorite vacation destination?
Puerto Rico.
What was your favorite hobby outside of baseball?
Car models.
Who was your baseball idol growing up?
Dwight Gooden.
What is your favorite ballpark food?
Hot dogs. Dodger dogs.
What's one thing on your bucket list?
Swimming with sharks.
Pre-game ritual or superstitions?
Jamba Juice.
Jamba juice before game?
Yep.
Which current player do you enjoy watching the most?
Trout.
What's your favorite non-baseball sport?
Basketball.
Favorite pre-game meal?
Pizza.
Most challenging part of being a professional baseball player?
Travel. Family.
Do you prefer day games or night games?
Night games.
If you could hit BP or pitch with any historical figure, who would it be?
Jackie Robinson.
Who was the toughest pitcher you ever faced?
Randy Johnson.
Best pitching advice you ever received, or piece of advice?
Strike one.
Strike one. Getting to it. And then lastly, what's your favorite baseball movie?
Field of Dreams.
Field of Dreams. And so, post MLB life, how was it transitioning out of pro ball? It's very hard mentally, giving up the game that you love.
Yeah, it was tough. Just like knowing that baseball's over, and for certain people, they have an education. You know, they went to college, or guys get their degree in whatever. But I don't know what college is. I don't know what school is, right? I joke around with people like, I got 3 degrees. And you're like, really? You went to school? I was like, yeah, I went to school. Like, what was your degrees? MLB, MILB, and international. It's baseball. That's all I know. And it was tough. It was tough, like having my wife, you know, why are you here? Like, yeah, I know. I'm supposed to be at the field right now. You know, I'm supposed to be on 4th of July watching fireworks, or I'm supposed to be on Father's Day wearing you know, the baby blue stuff, right? But I'm not. But you know, it was fortunate that, you know, I got right into coaching, so I still stayed on the same schedules. You know, when I did play, just a little bit different. You know, getting there a little bit earlier. Worrying about how to do scouting reports and all this stuff, trying to help the pitchers out. So it was tough in the beginning, but the transition became easier after.
Yeah, going from playing into coaching.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I do think that's a big role. How all these big leaguers come out with no degree. For sure, back then it mattered, but I think now I don't think it really matters. I think it really matters about connections, everything. I mean, I have a degree, but I found the job that I'm working with now by just going to a bar, and I ended up meeting some people in corporate, and then the rest is history.
100%. You know, I didn't burn any bridges. That's the main thing too. So the reason why I got into coaching, you know, I retired. And I mentioned that winter meetings in Vegas, and you know, my old GM was Ruben Amaro with the Phillies, and he was working with the Mets at that time. And he asked me, it's like, hey, I know you just finished your career, and you know, you had a great career. What are you thinking about doing? I'm like, I want to stay in the game. I want to play. I want to coach. So he gave me a number and an email. Text the number, sent my resume in, and in 2 weeks, I got a job with the Mets. And it was all because of Ruben, and I never burned any bridges with anybody.
And going back to high school, how'd you get the high school job? And you moved down here to South OC? Yeah.
So I lived out here when I was with the Angels in 2012, because my wife is from Fresno, and I didn't want to go in the middle of Fresno anymore. So we moved out here. And then when I got my coaching, so actually when I did retire in 19, I got my first gig with pro ball, coaching with the Mets. So I was from 19, 20, 21, and 22 with the Mets. Got all the way up to AA. Some people on this podcast will know some of the names that I'm going to mention right now that I worked with them when they were kids. You know, you got Jose Budo, Tylor McGill, Francisco Alvarez, Mark Vientos, Brett Beatty. You know, those were the kids that I had when they were coming up through the minor leagues. Helped those guys get to the big leagues. And then after those 4 years, I coached up in the Major League Draft League. So I coached out in State College, you know, at Penn, University at Penn. And then after that, I went to the Pioneer League last year. We won the championship up in Yolo, played up in Davis. And then this year, I'm going to be going back up there in 3 weeks. But in between all that whole time, I was stuck at Capel Valley High School. My daughter went there. My oldest daughter went there. My second daughter is going there right now. She's a senior, and my son's there as a freshman. So they were going to be stuck with me for 12 years. This year is like my first official year of actually coaching there. The years before, I just helped out, stopped by, help out some pitchers, help out the coaches.
For the feeder team, yeah.
Yeah, for the feeder team.
Graders. So if you guys don't know what the feeder team is, it's usually just travel ball for the 7th and 8th graders. So the feeder team comes from going into high school. So like, oh, you're going to go into feeder team with Capo.
Yeah. So I helped out with that. I helped out those kids. The kids right now that are freshmen, I worked with them when they were in 7th grade. And so now this year, we had a new coach come in. They needed a pitching coach. I was going to be here until May. So I said I wanted to do it. And, I've been doing that, this year. Hopefully next year I can do that. If not, that's fine with me. But as long as I'm still going to be around, and helping out. Yeah, so when the time comes when your son makes varsity, you think you want to coach him or no, you want to sit back in the stands? It's a big deal when you coach your son. It's a different road you got to take. See, but with me, like, I've been coaching my son since he was like 7 years old. And from 7 until, I want to say 11, I was really, really hard on him. Like, your dad too. Yeah, he was really on you, right? Yeah, he coached me since I was little too, yeah. So they're really hard on you because they expect so much from you. But when he got to high school, I told him, bro, you're on your own. It's like, what do you mean I'm on my own? Like, I'm done coaching you, bro. I don't need to coach you no more. You don't need to impress me. I already know what you can do. You got other people that are going to coach you. And then when I do coach, I treat him like I treat everybody else. I'm not going to favor you. I'm not going to yell at you more. I'm going to treat everybody the same way. Yeah. And it got to a point where a lot of other coaches, they complimented him. Because you know how Little League, and you get your dad on the field, and the first thing... parents just think, oh, he's the coach's son. That's exactly. They don't think anything else. And the first thing he says is, hey, Dad, on the field. Like, that's not with me. You don't call me dad on the field. You call me coach. I'm your coach on the field. At home, I'm dad. On the field, I'm coach. So from 12 years old on, he never called me dad on the field. And everybody's like, why are you not calling him dad? That's not my dad. That's my coach. What are you talking about? Yeah, I feel that for me. Like, I never called my dad coach. Nope. You can never do that. Field. I never did that because I knew that. But, like, even in high school when he coached me, we would just call each other by, like, hey, mm-hmm.
hey,
mm-hmm.
hey.
Mm-hmm. And for us,
even at home too, like, hey.
Yeah. Like, for me as a dad, like, I see something and I'm like, man, I want to say something, but I don't want to say something because I want you to learn. I don't want you to look at me for answers every single time. You gotta learn by mistakes. Baseball's a game of failure. Exactly. So when he was pitching during the feeder teams, he would look at me every time. So I got to a point like I had to leave the dugout. Like, why was he throwing balls or like something like that? That's why he was looking at you. Yeah, and I'm like, why are you looking at me for? Like, you're the one who's pitching, not me. But you see it like, yeah, I know what I see. I know what you're doing wrong. I know what you're doing wrong, but I'm not trying to worry about that now. That's why we got practice, so we can work on it then. So I had to leave the dugout so you can't find me. He would look. And then every time that I would leave, he would do good. I'm like, okay, then you don't need me. I'm good. You don't need my advice. You don't need my advice when you're playing. You're fine.
So what's like the best part of coaching and mentoring and like giving back to the game that you most love? I would say just like the knowledge part, just giving it to the younger generation.
100%. It's all about knowledge, right? It's all about giving them nuggets where light bulb clicks. Like little things.
Oh yeah, for sure. Little things when you're coaching and you see them, like when you're working out that in the practice and they do it right in the game. That's like,
you're like,
something that we.
Finally, you got it. You know, you got. Now you've been through it too, where it's like you got some kids that want to buck the system.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh yeah, you know what you're talking about. I'm like,
especially
okay.
in this generation too. Yeah, they want the easy way. They want the shortcuts and everything.
Like, all right, go ahead. You can do it your way. Go ahead. Because guess what? I'm going to be sitting back waiting in a week. Be like, Coach Jerome, like, now you ready? Like, yeah. All right, let's go. Then all of a sudden they start doing it better and getting better. And now I'm like, why couldn't you just listen to me earlier? You could have never had all this struggle. It could have been a lot easier. You could have a better ERA. You could be throwing a little bit harder. And you're going to be more successful. Yeah, I know. Well, if you knew, then why would guys, like, I'm not trying to toot my own horn for this, especially for high school guys, but why would guys question a player, a coach like myself that's been there, that did it before you were born?
Yeah.
You know, with the experience that I've had going through all the ups and downs.
It's just a case of a know-it-all syndrome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, you got it. Go ahead.
I know.
I'll let you fail. I want guys to fail.
Yeah.
I want them to fail. Like I'll give them a drill, and they'll fail in it. I'm like, perfect. It's like, what do you mean perfect? The only way to go is up now.
Again.
The only way to go is up. You can't go back. Well, you're gonna make it worse? There's no way you're gonna make it worse. You're gonna learn from your failures.
Yeah, most definitely.
Go ahead.
So like you played so much from little league to the big leagues and everything. How do you view the game now as a former player and now as a coach? Like for me, I like see it differently. I see baseball after I played and now I coach and I'm not coaching anymore. Oh man, now I think like baseball is easy, but it's hard at the same time. Like you just need the basics.
Yeah, it's different. It's very different. You know, like when you're a player, you're in competition mode, right? You're not really paying attention to little fine details, right? You're worried about
you taking 2 steps forward, not 1 step back.
Exactly. Like I'm trying to get you out right now, but as a coach, you're looking at on the side. It's like, okay, he can do this, and that. As a player, it's like, I want to just do this, right? So it's come in like strategy. I catch myself, sitting there watching. It's like, man, all you have to do is execute that pitch. All you have to do is bury this curveball. Man, why are you pulling it? So now I'm trying to help, like, the catcher to help the pitcher get back in zone, right? So it's like, and then now you got kids asking questions like, oh, why this? And why we call that pitch? Or why we did this? Then I explain it, and it's like, oh, I never thought about that. So now it becomes not just, there's no just one way to get somebody out. There's multiple ways to do it. But you don't want to go to the well so much that you're going to be ready for it.
Yeah.
So I'm going to expand your thought process of how to get someone out by just 4 different ways instead of just, okay, we're going to use your slider with 2 strikes every single time. Now, if you're at the plate and you got 2 strikes, you're sitting slider. You get whacked, all of a sudden, coach, that was a wrong pitch call. Like, no, you just didn't execute. Oh.
Yeah. That was
Oh, that's what you were talking about. It's not a bad pitch call. It was a bad location. Now, if you get him out on that location, do we have this conversation right now? No. They execute the pitch. Oh, now I get it.
Yeah, that was a big role. When we played, I think my dad got kicked out, and I had to take over. And we had our number one, our ace, and I was calling pitches, and it was fine. And then that's when he was just shaking me off, and next thing you know, they were hitting off him. And I'm like, dude, like I just don't get it. Like,
But they know, right?
Yeah, they
Oh
know.
yeah, you guys know. But
Yeah.
now you just put your
Like you said, yeah. Like
It's
when I
not-
called a pitch, he missed his spot. He
Yeah.
hit it, missed his spot, but like it's your fault because you missed your spot. It's
exactly.
like you, not because I'm calling the wrong pitches, you missed your spot.
Just execute the
Execute the
pitch,
pitch.
right? And then now, instead of you being that person as a team player, you're trying to do it as an individual because you're trying to make it about you. Well, it's not just about you because you got 8 other guys on the team, and you got 7 other guys on the bench. So you're not just letting yourself down; you're letting the whole team down just because you want to be the hero.
Yeah, you
No.
want to do it your way.
Yeah, you don't.
Your way or the highway. Yeah, yeah. For me, transition from playing to coaching was like so easy, and plus I played like we show the video games too, so you know how you pitch. You pitch the secrets. You go 1, 2, 3. You play people online. You go 1, 2, 3 in a row. Like, oh man, this is easy.
Yeah.
But yeah, like going into like the video game aspect of playing, like knowing how to throw it, and then knowing from coaching too, like and playing, so putting it all together, it's like
It becomes a game.
and natural. It becomes natural to you.
Yeah,
Yeah. So I think that's it. Thanks for coming on the show.
no problem, brother. Always a pleasure.
Yeah.
Always a pleasure.